Hey, I'm Ken and this is Ken's Guitar Workshop. Welcome back, and let's get to work on the Ovation Deacon Copy build. The way I plan to make the truss rod access channel with the counter bore and the 3/32 rod and everything just didn't work out. The rod was too flexible, and I didn't want to take a chance on really screwing up the end of the headstock. So I just made an impromptu fence on my router table and just ran the neck through here. Gave us the channel here. You can see right here, there's a spot where the counter bore started to wander a little bit. I was hoping that the 3/32 rod was going to be a little stiffer than this, and drilling with this heavy drill, you couldn't keep it straight, man. So I just went with the router table instead. Came out fine. It's a little bugger right there, you can see it, but that'll be covered up by the truss rod cover, so no big wiggle. I will also be gluing in a small piece of wood into the channel in the area beneath the nut. Here you can see everything is below the surface. Nothing is catching the scraper. Since two-way truss rods don't have a filler strip on the top of them, I almost always put 3 little dabs of silicone caulking in the truss rod channel, just to stick the rod in there. I've had them rattle before. This definitely alleviates that. It's also much easier to take care of this now rather than when the fretboard is glued on. At that point, it becomes a major job. Now I'm working at the filler strip for the heel end behind the truss rod. At this point it was fitting just a little tight, so I wanted to sand it down a little bit so it wasn't so tight that all the glue squeezed out. That slides in nice. Now, let's glue it up. You know the old saying, if it doesn't fit, get a bigger hammer. I think it might be time for me to invest in a small hand plane. Okay, now we're ready to start cleaning out the fret slots. The tools I ordered from StewMac came in. This thing is awesome. This is pretty cool. The main problem with my fret slots is they weren't deep enough. And after going at it with this little jewel right here, the reason was that the slots were filled with glue. Apparently Ovation glued all their frets in to begin with. And when I pulled the frets out, I never realized it. So let's have a look at this down on the bench. So as you run this blade down through the channel, you can feel that the glue's in there because it's biting on the blade. So let's see if we can get it out. I mean, there is a bunch in there. Once it's out, the depth is nice and smooth. You gotta work it out easy so we don't chip the ebony. This tool right here is worth its weight in gold. Kind of slip it under the glue and then pry the glue up and out. We'll work back from the other end. Piece right here, and chase it out with the refret saw. I don't know if you could see that, but I scribed a little line across the blade right here to show me the slot depth. And once you can't see that line, then the depth of the slot is deep enough to accept a fret. That's pretty good. I'm going to get this a little bit out at the end here. Okay, as you see, we got quite a bit of glue to clean out of there. So let's clean the rest of the fret slots out, and then we'll press the frets in. You may have noticed that half the board is already fretted. I cleaned the slots out and pressed the frets in half the board last night.
I actually wanted to get comfortable with the tool and figure out the correct method of using it before I started filming it. This tool is pretty damn awesome. You can see it's doing a hell of a job. Altogether, I spent approximately 2 hours cleaning the glue out of the fret slots. I want to take your time. Now, what you're watching has been sped up, I believe, 2 times. There's no way in hell I was doing it this quickly. I wouldn't have a fretboard left if I was actually going at it that fast. I did notice a few spots on the binding where it had come loose, which I'm going to take care of once I glue the frets in. I'm going to be flooding the slots with some water-thin super glue, and then we'll be taking care of the loose binding at that time as well. Right here is where I noticed that the binding was a little loose. We'll take care of that later. If you work on fretboards, these 2 tools are a must-have. I was very pleasantly surprised how well they worked. I was in fact so pleased with these 2 tools that I actually left a feedback on StuMac, and I don't ever leave feedback.